You open? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending the Bond Informational Facility Tour. My name is Mark Kleinhans. I think I know many of you, or I recognize the faces of many of you. I do see a few new faces, so I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come and tour the facility. I think it's very important, and as I had indicated, our high school class is taping this. They'll do this part of it as well as the tour so that we can put it on our website so the folks that couldn't be here can view the website and go through this. So again, as I said, my name is Mark Kleinhans. I'm superintendent. We do have a couple of board members here, and this is Dr. Tim Brakel. Dr. Brakel, would you please raise your hand? Welcome. And Mrs. Lisa McKegg. Lisa, could you raise your hand? Very good. I also have some folks from my staff here. Oh, Lisa, do you got it? Yep. I have Mr. Howard Schwager. He is our Director of HR and Labor Relations, and I have Sharon Ramirez. She's our CFO. She's the finance person, and the building principal, Carol, is here, PERS. And I do want to thank the PTO from the building for leaving all the goodies and the snacks. So I'll just take that stuff home when I go home with me tonight. So, but no, we do thank you. And most importantly, I do appreciate you folks being here. I do have an agenda. You should have, when you walked in, you should have received the bond brochure, informational brochure. I just passed out an overview of the projects, and hopefully you have an agenda. And I'll just take a few minutes and review the evening's activities so we're on the same page. One other person that I need to introduce, this is Paul Terrio. Paul is from Plant Moran Cressa. You can see Paul is an engineer, and he specializes in school construction projects. How many projects did you say the other day?
Oh, I don't know, 100 plus.
100 plus he's been involved in, and so he is working with the school district, and we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Okay? So if you could kind of scroll down a little bit for me, please. You can see I have a PowerPoint that I presented, and most of the folks here already heard that presentation. So I'm going to just buzz through that very quickly. That PowerPoint will be also on our webpage. And so I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but just kind of give you a very quick overview of where we're at. Certainly will not spend all of the time. And then we're going to go through a facility tour. Mr. Terrio is going to assist with that. He's the gentleman that actually did the facility study. He's going to point out some of the needs of this building as we go through. So we also invite you to attend our upcoming meetings, especially if you have a student here getting ready to go over to the junior high, or even if you'd like to come to one of the tours in our other elementary buildings, you're certainly welcome to. So those dates are up there. They're also on the web page. Very good. So could you pull up the PowerPoint quickly? I want to try to get to the tour because really that's why we're here. But very quickly, as you can see, in the brochure, there's a ton of information about the projects, why now. There's also some information if you want to see the impact of this issue on your taxes. And you can see what some of the other school districts have invested in terms of their program. Go ahead and pop up the PowerPoint. There you go. Yep.
Well, I think it's programmed to go through automatically, though.
There we go. Okay, very good. If you were able to attend the community information meeting, I spent a lot of time with this. I mean, I spent probably 45 minutes on this slide, so on this whole presentation. We're not going to do that this evening. I will take a few minutes, though, and speak to why we're here. As you know, I'm brand new to the district. I was hired this past spring, started in July, have been here. I knew when I was hired I would have to balance the budget because the district's a deficit district, and I knew that I would have to prepare the district for a renewal of the sinking fund. And as a result of that process, we're also, as the Board of Education, redoing the strategic plan, which is it's a 2 to 3 year process when you redo your strat plan. And the first step of that, and that's what we're doing here, is identifying the vision of the school district. And as a leader of this organization, obviously my direction, my vision of the district is critical in this process. So you'll see that we are in the process of changing. This is where I want to take the district. I believe that we have a premier learning organization, and you can see the foundation based on student achievement, finances, and facility. And the reason why we exist, the reason why we are here, not just in Bedford, but across this great land of ours, is right there. Helping our students be successful from the day that they step into our doors all the way to the graduation. And as you can see, that's what we're all about. A key to any good organization is having a strong foundation, and you can see that the foundation that we're going to build upon, the student achievement, the finances, and the facilities, and I'll quickly get through this so we can get to the tour, but this is important. This is what's driving us. The Board of Education will continue to work on this strategic plan, regardless of where the bond goes. This needs to be done. Through this, we'll identify areas of improvement. We'll assign committees. It will be a lengthy process, but it will be a very beneficial process for the school district. You can see the center column is student achievement very quickly. Most of you saw this. This will, again, be on our website. Bedford does very well academically, very well. And you can see the top to bottom rankings of all the schools in the state of Michigan. You know, our schools are right near the top. You can see one of our buildings is almost one of the top school districts in the state of Michigan. You can see where our MEP scores are, and you probably caught in the paper the results. There was a big article, and they quoted Eddie Manuzak, who's our assistant superintendent for instruction, talking about how well Bedford does. This is why I came here. I think some people know this already. I came to Bedford. I was drawn here because of its academic success. If you're not from Bedford, if you're from outside of the area, if you're from Bedford, you probably don't know this, but Bedford's known throughout. It's known throughout the state as a high academic school district that has excellent co-curricular programs. At our board meeting a couple weeks ago, we were speaking, and we found out that one of our robotics team is rated, and we talk about the state, is rated 7th in the nation. And that's certainly something to be proud of. And I know this weekend the robotics crew went up to Escanaba and they won the whole thing. So not just that, but our band programs do very well. These scores are noted throughout the state. Bedford's a good school system, and it's because of you folks, the parent support, the community support, and we do have some teachers sitting in the back. Raise your hand, teachers. It's because of the work. We have a teacher. It's because of the work that they do with our students each and every day. So very important. The finances, just quickly, we're a deficit district. The state expects us to come out in 3 years. We're coming out this year. That is huge. That is very important for the district. And you can see that the goal here when we end this, in Sharon's words, we're optimistic that we'll come out of deficit to the tune of about $100,000. Again, this was my goal when I came down, not to bring the district out this soon, but to shore up the finances and take care of this. We've developed a new spreadsheet. If anybody's interested, I'll share it with them. The process that we use, it's quite intense, but it's very positive, and I think it will help keep the district out of deficit. This just explains the funding. So we try to make sure that everyone understands that operational funding is over here. We're funded through the state of Michigan, so we pay taxes. It goes to Lansing. Lansing pays out all of those monies to all the school districts around the state, and it's a per pupil. So we get about a little over $7,000 per student. That is totally separate from the issue that we're here to discuss, and that is the bond issue. You cannot mix bond dollars and operational dollars. If you do, the state doesn't like that very well, and it doesn't turn out well. I end up in jail. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to jail. So that just explains that quickly. Just another quick slide to explain. People have been asking us, what if this bond fails, right? What happens if this bond fails? And obviously, you're going to find out from the facility study, the district has needs. Every dollar that's spent in the class, spent on maintenance is a dollar we can't spend in the classroom. So for example, our buses are struggling. We're going to have to do something with our buses one way or the other. And so that definitely will have an impact on the budget because we'll have to take care of those issues. Please note, one of the things when I walked in here, and even walking, this place is clean. I mean, the custodian was in here. I mean, I walked in here 3 times today, and not one time was she sitting still. She was flying up and down. We have a good custodial staff. It really has nothing to do with custodial. It has to do with the age of the buildings. The facilities are old, and you'll see that. The design type is different than the way they would build schools these days. The codes are different in the state of Michigan. So please note, this has nothing to do with upkeep. It has to do with the age of the buildings. We also did some comparisons of the mall and the square footage. Bedford, actually, across the state, is a pretty good-sized school district, and so we kind of make those comparisons. Now, D.R.E. The plan is, in this project, is to take Smith Road. D.R.E. is built with these wooden beams, as you can see, okay? These wooden beams, this is old construction. It's the way they probably did it back in the 50s. This is the way it went. What we would do is we would go to Smith Road, which doesn't have wood beams. Smith Road has blocks, metal rafters or girders, and a metal ceiling, a metal deck. The buildings that are like that, for example, like Smith Road, you can renovate those. We can update those. So the idea would be go to Smith Road, totally renovate that facility. We'd have to add some classrooms. One of the reasons why they closed is because it's too small. We'd renovate that facility, and we would pick up the students, the staff, and everybody from here and move them over to Smith Road. Now, there's a reason for that, and this is why we're going to take the tour. Mr. Terrio, as we walk through, you're going to find out that we did a facility study. I commissioned it because I wanted a roadmap for the sinking fund. I didn't want to just put a sinking fund out there without people saying, well, what do we got to do? Well, this is why we got to do it. So we commissioned this facility study, and that's when we found out that we have greater deficits than a sinking fund will take care of. And especially this building and D.R.E., but also at the middle school and at the high school. We have some significant deficits. So that's what we're going to learn about today, the cables, some of the portable classrooms, the doors, the HVAC, storage issues, some leaking roof issues. If we were to repair this building, which we could do, and still occupy it, we could sink about $8.8, almost $9 million into this. And the problem with that is it would only be good for 20 years. So a bond issue goes 30. So for 20 years, we would be good. We could renovate. It wouldn't be, it could be a plan that we could work with. But 20 years from now, this school district will be in trouble because there will be 10 years left to pay on a building that we wouldn't be able to occupy. So the Board of Education thought about that. They really did. It was one of the recommendations. They thought about just renovating this facility, but I believe the tipping factor was the issue of the 20 years. So you can see the solution is to go to Smith Road and add 4 new classrooms, reconfigure the main entrance for security, and we'll talk about that when we get out there. Some roof work, the windows and the doors, interior finishes, mechanical, ventilation, technology infrastructure. We have to bring everything, that's what ADA is, up to code, and then we would have to deal with, and this would be phase 2, parking and traffic flow. What they try to do, actually they're specialists, that's all they do, is they develop patterns to separate, at all schools, separate the parent drop-off loop from the bus loop from the staff loop. And it's a safer form of ways to get kids in and out of the buildings. We had a board member that was just telling me the other day, or was it yesterday, Lisa? She's at Lisa's going to the high school, and she's on Dean Road, and she slows down because there's a car, and the cars are all backed up, and bam, she got hit. But she's fine. She's tough. So no one was hurt, which was a good thing. But that's an example of possibly looking at a way to reroute at the high school to separate get those cars off from the main road through different parking patterns. So that would be phase 2 of this project. You can see that we renovate Smith Road for approximately, we can do that for approximately $6.4 million. And this 6.4 would last, Smith Road would last the length of the bond. Actually, it would be 30 years plus, okay? Okay, so there are other parts of it, and we're going to get to these on another evening. Jackman Monroe Road, we've got proposed changes. As I said, this will be on the website so you can go to it. Hopefully you'll come to these tours, the junior high school, the high school, some major renovations, some transportation issues that are part of this bond package. And then this gets to that issue, why not fix what we have? And I've spoke to that simply because of the span. And you can see that you get, here's the 20 years right here. If we just repair 20 years, the bond goes 30, we'd obviously be in a bind. There's accountability, the big piece, and Paul's going to speak here for a few minutes before we start the tour. Plant Moran Cressa is known throughout the state. This is what they do. They're working with a school district on almost a $200 million bond project. They go as big as projects like that. I've worked with them in the past on a $14 million project, so they'll go as low as $14 million. They'll probably go as low as that. When I came to this school district, I did not plan on this, okay? I planned on getting the budget in shape, doing a facility study, and passing a sinking fund. I knew that was going to happen, but when we did the facility study, we found out that our facilities have some major deficits. As the superintendent of the school district, I recommended to the board this package to move forward because this is my job. I would be remiss, is the best word to say, had I not acted and put together a package to move forward. So we do have a lot of folks that have been involved in the process. We've taken surveys. As I said, the study that we've done, the facility study, takes all that information in, and so we believe it's the right thing to do. In the brochure that you have, you can plug in. You can also go to our website, and we had this at the trade fair this last weekend. You can plug in the assessed value of your house, and you can see the impact of this issue on your taxes. If your home is worth $75,000, it's an additional $6.41 a month for this issue. If you're at $125,000, it's about $10.68. If your house is $175,000, it's about $15 a month increase for this issue over the 30 years for the life of the bond. So that's what we're talking about. Now, if you are on a fixed income, if you are retired and you're on a fixed income, and I believe the cutoff is if you make $26,000 or less and your home's worth $125,000, it's $1 a month increase because of the rules. So we're going to get that loaded on to the website as well. So there are different issues if you're on fixed income, and there's a sliding scale, so we'll try to build that in to make sure. Because we know, obviously times are tough, and our goal isn't to, our goal is to do what we think is right, but we certainly want to make sure that the process is fair and that it's something that everyone can afford. Oh, Sandy improved this. This is Sandy Crane, by the way. Turn around, Sandy. Sandy's the head of our marketing department in the schools, and she does all of these cool things. So she already added this without even telling me. Right there it is. The 25, well, she did say something. She improved it. The $25,000 fixed income. If your house is $75,000, it's $1. If it's $125,000, it's about $2. So it is up a little bit. So thank you. Timing, they're all about 2 to 4 years to do the whole work. This building would stay the same. We would continue on until the facilities were completed, and then we would make one move to it. You can see the work in the other buildings would take place in stages. And again, as I said, we're going to try to get through this. The other piece is this is going to cause some transportation issues for the district. So what we'll do when this thing passes is you could be living like right here, and Smith Road could be here, but you could be transported up north. We're going to look at that. We're going to bring in some folks that specialize in transportation patterns and all of those kinds of things. We call it common sense transportation. We're going to take input from parents. This will be down the road, but September of 2016 would be the earliest. But we're going to look at this. It wouldn't make much sense for someone that's all the way down here being shipped up here and someone that's up here being shipped down here. So we'll look at that issue once we get to that point. This initiative is about keeping the building strong. You're going to find out, for example, in one of the 5th grade classrooms that we're going to walk into, hopefully we'll make it back there. There are 30 kids. Kids are a lot bigger than what they were back in the day, as you know. I walked down in the middle school, and a lot of the middle schoolers now are bigger than I am. But you're going to find out that these rooms in this elementary specifically are very small. And you can see that the teachers use every bit of space that they can possibly use in this building. And as a matter of fact, some spaces have storage outside, which probably isn't the best place to be storing things. So the other piece is, as the district moves to one-to-one, which is every student gets a Chromebook, their own device, well, that's going to cause, and that's their world. They need to know how to use and interact with technology to be successful in the world. There are certain things that we need to do that. You need power in the classrooms. You need infrastructure and technology. Some things that these older buildings not necessarily are easy to adapt or equip to. The other piece of this, we're going to talk about safe entryways, and when we get there, I'll show you what a safe entryway should be. I think that's important, and you're going to find out that all of the glass in these older buildings are single pane glass. We need to go green. We need to become energy efficient. We can save dollars down the road, which will help the school district financially. So the other piece is I throw this out. There is no question that there's been issues in this school district with closing schools and kids moving around. I talked to a gentleman the other day, and he was upset, and certainly I acknowledged that. But I told him that I can't change that. All I can do, and my responsibility, is to move the district forward, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're moving this process forward. So with that, I know I went very quickly. Like I said, this took half hour, 45 minutes last time I went through it. Paul's going to kind of get up and talk a little bit about the tour, and then we're going to roll. Are there any questions, though, before we get to Paul and the tour? Yes?
Is there a reason we're not touring Smith?
We can add it. We left an open day. Yep.
From doing that building, I just wondered why you were not touring.
There's absolutely no reason why. We do have an extra Tuesday open, and we could add Smith for the tour. That would certainly be fine. That's a great question. It's just we put the buildings that people were in, so yep. So that's good. We can add that. Yes?
I just had a question about Smith Road. Are the classrooms there bigger than they are here?
Yes.
Will they not have the storage issues that they have here?
Yeah, and I'll let Paul.
I guess like you said,
Yeah.
we don't know what Smith Road looks like.
Okay.
But that's where these kids will be going.
Yep. Well, Carol, come on up here. Whoever wants to handle that.
Our classrooms here are approximately 750 square feet each
Wait.
classroom.
We got to get this on.
The classrooms at Douglas Road and the same thing at Jackman, about 750 square feet. The classrooms over at Smith are about 1,000 square feet. That's another quarter of the size. There's a few classes in there that are even larger. One of the biggest difference space-wise, in my opinion, is that many of the classrooms in the back of the building, where we will probably put our youngest students or kindergarten, first, second grade students, have bathrooms in the classrooms. So if a child has to go to the bathroom, they just get up, they go, they're back in their room. Here, honestly, what happens with the kindergarten classes, they have to line up most of the time, especially at the beginning of the year, and some of them are 4 years old. Line up, wait their turn, because there may be another class there in the bathroom, and then come back. There are times that we waste, in my opinion it's waste, 40 minutes a day, educationally for the kids, going to the bathrooms. Now, the teachers will do different things. They'll count as they go, or they'll hop, or they'll do as many creative things as they can to make that time not a waste. But it's not the same as having a bathroom right there in the classroom. That's the biggest difference. There are some of the other classrooms that don't have them for the older kids, but it's not a big deal for a fourth grader to go out of the room and use the bathroom. Plus, if the younger kids have them in their rooms, there's not the wait. So it is different as far as the size of the classrooms.
Yep. Very good. And the beauty of this process is, I mean, just a second, but this issue of Smith Road, I mean, I just, that's why more heads are better than one. We'll add a Smith Road. Let's all get over there. Let's walk that facility and let's look at it. Yes, sir.
The design of these buildings that you're projecting out 30 years, the classroom 30 years from now is not going to look like what we have today. So what we look at today, this right here, is going to be the classroom. So when we're designing buildings to fit these kids that we say are oversized now,
They are.
technology is going, right now, these buildings, the analogy is, they're the Best Buy of Amazon. So the buildings that you're thinking about for tomorrow aren't going to be the buildings that we need for tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's no question that open space, that's what you're talking about right here, wired is one of the things that they build in when they're building new elementaries. They try to do those common space areas. So we certainly would look at that. The issue with Smith Road, and I think you're talking about online learning, correct?
That's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So why are we going to invest $130 million on buildings that are going to sit vacant?
I don't know necessarily if they're going to sit vacant, so, yeah.
The other thing that's different in Smith Road as far as the configuration of the classrooms, you'll have 3 possible classrooms that are right next to each other, and majority of them have dividers that will slide. They're soundproof, they're solid, most of them are, but you can open them up for a different type of learning. It makes a larger space, so let's say all the 5th graders can work on a project, and they may be traveling in different areas and working, because it is going to be different. So we have a few more options at Smith Road just because of the configuration of the rooms.
Okay. Yes.
But isn't Smith Road already pods? Like, open concept?
Years ago, when it was first built, it had that, they called it pods.
Pods.
And the rooms were open. As education changed, you